What if the greatest empires in history met each other, traded, and even fought wars, yet nobody bothered to tell you about it? While textbooks obsess over Greece and Rome, entire forgotten worlds collided, shaping continents you never even learn about. We're talking about forgotten superpowers, empires that ruled millions, commanded fleets, minted gold coins, and sent ambassadors across continents. Because they didn't speak Latin or build marble columns, history erased them from our collective memory until now. These are 10 encounters the West forgot. Let's start in Cairo, 1424. This city is the beating heart of the Mamluk Empire, a great medieval power. Masters of trade routes between Asia and Europe, they are wealthy beyond measure, and then a stranger arrives at their impressive gates. His name is Musa. He rules the Mali Empire, a kingdom in West Africa controlling half the world's gold supply. He is on pilgrimage to Mecca, and he has brought 80 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of pure gold. What happens next is economic catastrophe on an unprecedented scale. Musa spends lavishly in Cairo's markets, handing out gold to beggars. He literally crashes the economy, as chronicler Al-Umari interviewed eyewitnesses decades later who still remembered the chaos vividly. Gold prices collapsed across the entire Mediterranean region. The value of the dinar plummeted overnight, a true economic shockwave. It took 12 years for Cairo's economy to recover from one man's generosity, a collision of wealth-bending economic loss. Now rewind 1700 years earlier to a different world. Travel to Lo, a bustling port city in southern Vietnam. This is the heart of Funan, a maritime empire controlling trade between India and China, and archaeologists found something impossible buried in the mud. Roman medallions gleam in the dirt after centuries, coins bearing the face of Emperor Antoninus Pius, miraculously found in Vietnam. These were struck in the Mediterranean, somehow transported 7,000 kilometers to a kingdom Rome didn't even know existed, but the connection was real. Funan's merchants didn't deal with Rome directly. They traded through dozens of intermediaries along the Silk Road and maritime routes spanning continents. Roman gold flowed east while Funanese spices and textiles flowed west. Two empires, separated by half the planet, were economically intertwined. Sometimes these encounters weren't peaceful. 22 BCE, the Nile Valley under a scorching sun, the Roman Empire expands southward. They've just made a catastrophic miscalculation, invading the kingdom of Kush, and Kush fights back hard, with fierce determination. Queen Amon-Irenas leads the counterattack herself with legendary ferocity, commanding armies with ruthless efficiency, blind in one eye. Her forces sack Roman garrisons, capture prisoners, and even carry off bronze statues of Emperor Augustus, forcing Rome to negotiate from weakness. The peace talks happen on the Greek island of Samos, with Augustus himself presiding over the negotiations. Kush wins decisively. Amon-Irenas secures complete tax exemption for her kingdom, forcing Rome to withdraw from contested territories. The historian Strabo documented it all. A one-eyed African queen stared down the most powerful empire on earth and walked away victorious, dictating her own terms. That's not a footnote, that's a headline and a triumph that should be celebrated, yet you've likely never heard her name. Jump forward to 671, to the tropical island of Sumatra, where Palembang is the headquarters of Srivijaya Empire. A Chinese Buddhist monk named Yijing arrives, traveling from China to India, and decides to stop here for 6 months. Why 6 months in this particular place? Palembang has become one of the world's great centers of Buddhist learning, rivaling India. Yijing studies with Srivijayan scholars, perfects his Sanskrit, and documents everything in his travel journals. His testimony is literally the earliest proof Srivijaya existed. Without Yijing's detailed account, we know almost nothing about this empire that controlled the straits for 6 centuries straight. Srivijaya commanded trade, culture, and religion across Southeast Asia, but left almost no monuments, so history nearly forgot them entirely. Now let's talk about ancient proxy wars, where superpowers clashed indirectly in Yemen. It is the year 525. On one side is the Aksumite Empire, Christian rulers of highland Ethiopia, poised for a major confrontation. On the other side, the Sassanid Persian Empire, Zoroastrian masters of the Middle East and Central Asia, also seeking control. Aksum strikes first, launching a naval invasion across the Red Sea, conquering Yemen with overwhelming force and strategic precision. For 45 years, Aksum holds Yemen while Persia seethes with resentment and plots revenge in silence. Then in 570, the Sassanids strike back with fury, invading and reconquering the entire region in a brutal campaign. Not every encounter was violent. Sometimes empires met at borders, eyeing each other warily, maintaining a cold peace through trade. Consider the Nabateans, masters of the desert city of Petra, running caravans to Gaza and controlling the frankincense route. Parallel ran the Parthian Empire, dominating the eastern Silk Road with iron control, moving Chinese silk and Indian spices westward. These two networks define the absolute limits of Roman commerce. Rome could buy from them, but couldn't break past to the source. The Nabateans and Parthians never fought directly, but their trade corridors shaped the ancient economy in profound ways. They were gatekeepers, toll collectors on the world highways, and Rome paid the price dearly, dictated by geography. Now let's climb the Andes, into the thin air of high mountains where empires thrived between 600 and 1000 CE. Two civilizations dominated South America, Wari in the north, Tiwanaku in the south, their borders meeting in dangerous, contested territory. Archaeologists are still mapping where one empire ended and the other began, as the evidence is complex and incomplete. Both built vast cities, sophisticated irrigation systems, and networks of roads spanning incredible distances. Both expanded aggressively. We don't have written records of their wars, as neither empire developed decipherable writing systems, but archaeology tells a story. Two Andean superpowers were locked in centuries of rivalry, their territories changing hands repeatedly, while the rest of the world had no idea they existed. By 1025, Srivijaya was about to learn a hard lesson in geopolitics. They'd grown wealthy, controlling trade through the straits. Remember the maritime empire in Sumatra we met earlier? The Chola Empire decided enough was enough, preparing for a major move. The Cholas ruled southern India, commanding the most powerful navy in the Indian Ocean, unmatched in skill and firepower. In 1025, they launched a massive raid across the Bay of Bengal, striking Srivijayan ports with devastating precision and force. It was a statement written in fire and stone for all to witness. Srivijaya controlled the straits, but Cholas controlled the sea. Two maritime empires clashed in one of history's great naval campaigns, which you only don't know about because it didn't involve Europeans. Earlier, Funan met Rome through trade networks, but Funan also sent diplomats north to Han China in the 3rd century. These missions were carefully recorded in the Jin Shu and Liang Shu chronicles, detailing ambassadors traveling hundreds of miles through mountains and jungles. These weren't accidental encounters. They were deliberate, requiring months of planning and tremendous resources for successful diplomatic missions. Our final meeting brings us to Sri Lanka and South India, where Kandy maintained diplomatic ties with the Vijayanagara Empire. Vijayanagara ruled much of southern India, while Kandy controlled Sri Lanka's highlands. Their relationship wasn't just ceremonial exchange. They exchanged ambassadors, coordinated against Portuguese colonizers, and facilitated pilgrimages to sacred Buddhist sites, binding two forgotten powers. So what does all this mean? Why do these 10 encounters matter so deeply? They reveal a world more interconnected. While textbooks focus on Rome and Greece, entire continents were already mapping, negotiating, trading, and fighting wars that shaped millions of lives. These weren't primitive societies waiting to be discovered. They were sophisticated civilizations with navies, protocols, and alliances spanning miles. The Chola Empire launched naval raids. Kushite queens negotiated tax treaties with Augustus. Aksumite kings waged proxy wars in Yemen. These were equals meeting equals. The real question isn't why these encounters happened. It's why we forgot them, why a Roman coin found so far seemed shocking. We've been conditioned to see history through a single lens, believing that meaningful civilization flowed only when it touched European shores. But history doesn't work that way. It never did, as European schoolchildren memorized Greek philosophers missing global connections. They missed Malian emperors reshaping Mediterranean economies and Andean empires negotiating borders across mountain ranges. The world was always connected. 10 encounters, 10 forgotten meetings between powers history chose to erase, but the evidence remains carved in stone. Buried in archaeological sites, preserved in chronicles, the world was vast and interconnected. It still is, we just forgot who built it.